yeah, sure, they got blown out by Sentinels, but every other game I've seen them play throughout this qualification process, they've looked fine. You know, like they've beaten pretty much everyone they've played against, other than Cloud9 in the finals of the Open Qualifier. So I think they shouldn't be sweating it too much. But Dignitas, this is a big opportunity for them.
Oh yeah, they're in the shop window right now. They have a lot of points to prove, and they have the world stage in which to utilize. As you said, they ran into the roadblocker Sentinels, as many teams I'm sure felt in the past. Discussed it, they were 41 or 42-8 coming into that game, so obviously they can extend that a little bit more. But Envy now on the defense side, anything that's catching you off guard here in terms of the agent picks?
No, I mean, it's just worth pointing out that, you know, Som comes to this team playing a duelist now. He had played a lot of Sova in the past and even some Viper, particularly on Split. But now he's playing Reyna a ton in this close qualification process, and obviously dephh switching over to Killjoy. So you are indeed seeing, again, some of that role swapping we're talking about. As Som is actually able to open up here on the B site pretty quickly there. As Spike will get planted, crashies having just kind of play behind the smoke here at Elbow and wait for his team to get in a position to go for the retake. And they're all going to be coming through back halls and Elbow. They have no presence outside hookah or long B. So a big advantage for Dignitas.
Crashies had an excellent start against Sentinels, but he has already been silenced. 3-on-3. A low Raze to contend with post-plant. And Envy have got to make the moves. It's Finesse who goes in first. mummAy trades out for one, instantly put down, and kaboose, the low player, now stuck out in the open, alive somehow, but supamen puts him down, and Dignitas claim first blood.
Yeah, I mean, just to talk agents a little bit more, since it's still kind of early days here and we have that luxury. MAKKA did play a lot of Sova on Morning Light, so he's basically right at home. supamen obviously used to play a ton of Brim back when he was very much the meta, like early days of Valorant, but still plays him a little bit on Bind, but has elsewhere chances in Omen, as most other players have that play that kind of smoke character role. And then you're seeing basically the exact same comp you saw earlier from Envy. You know, this is kind of their bread and butter comp they like to, you know, open up with on this map. So nothing really too special as far as agent pick goes outside of what we've talked about.
Som hot off the back of getting the entry. Now just sitting in middle and chilling. Anticipating a potential push. The cloudburst tossed into long from Orderus. And they now start to back away. They have put a bit of pressure down, a bit of presence shown to Envy, hoping that this draws out as many rotations as possible. But Envy holding the line.
Just kind of playing a little bit of a stack over towards hookah position. It's around, they kind of have to gamble a little bit if we're honest. When you're playing on just upgraded pistols, you kind of have to take your best bet. Now they will all shift over through back halls together to try to transition into A as quickly as they can, but Dignitas have come knocking early here. Som leading the charge there with the Vandal. Couple of big entries there. No surprise, really, though, considering Envy's limited firepower in a round 2 situation. So Dignitas will mop up as we expected. Only kaboose left here with the share, trying to see if he can at least maybe pull off a couple of little one-taps, but to no avail. As Dignitas will want to win this clean. But kaboose will find one. Not a second, though. Som with a quad kill round.
Off to a flying start. 7 kills in 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Having a lot of impact in the pistol as well. He picked up 3 in that one. And Envy, who did put in a speculative couple of sheriffs, now have to pretty much use the same again. So Dignitas will be looking very good for that 3-0 start.
Yeah, and we put a little bit into that, so they do have to kind of take another round of just chilling out before they can get the full buy going.
Hunting Omen.
Here comes some aggression. It's kaboose. Keeping that deagle. Taken down. Orderus with the Spectre was never going to miss out on that chance. They also do have the bomb in tow as they head towards the U-Haul. The vent just behind it. We'll start to see some action as Envy quickly scamper back into position, but it will be a post-plant that falls upon them. Labored spray. Orderus gets punished from the classic. And now the SMG can trade hands, and it does just that. mummAy puts down MAKKA, and he was one of the main players for Envy that really shone towards that comeback trail. And he's keeping them alive in this. They can both pivot off one another. The spike now being planted down. Food still alive with the sheriff, but not for much longer. supamen does silence him. But mummAy, who was last seen in the U-Hauls, is now slowly edging his way into close proximity. He wants to try and fend off the 2 defenders, but supamen's Phantom is too good. And Dignitas do convert the pistol into a quick-fire 3-0.
Yeah, again, just around, they couldn't really put their best foot forward when it came down to the credits available, but now they are able to get mummAy on the operator. Full rifles for everyone else. We see a couple of Vandals in play for kaboose and crashies, but everyone else on Phantoms. We are seeing a little bit more diversity in rifles now that the Vandal, of course, had its buffs a pretty good bit ago with the fire rate and such, though a lot of people still like the Phantom due to smoke spamming and not having tracers and the fast rate of fire and the higher accuracy. So, again, though, at least you see a little bit more parity, which is nice. That's kind of what I think Riot wanted and what makes the game more interesting. And you kind of get some good, viable choices. You have to just choose what you are comfortable with. You are going to see Orderus on the operator here, posted up, looking for that long B aggressive peek from Envy, and he will find it right away there. Puts down Food, who does like to be that aggressive defender for this Envy team, but not this time as far as working out goes. And there's another one from Orderus. Big entries here from him over here on the B side.
Oh, he's done his job and then some. Not a single point of health lost in the process. And keep in mind that this is Envy's buy. They've been waiting for this moment, and they instantly get shut down.
Absolutely. They like to play an aggressive defense. I mean, particularly Food has always been really aggressive defensively. But going to get silenced there. And just to give you a little bit of info, in case you didn't know, Orderus was a former professional, or kind of professional CSGO player. He played for Space Station Gaming and Mountain Dew League. Played on a couple other teams at kind of that, you know, semi-pro level. So definitely, and he was an operator in Counter-Strike. So seeing him make that transition as many CS players have. Same with MAKKA. He was also a former CS player. Obviously, dephh, formerly of Complexity in CSGO, as well on this team of Dignitas.
30 seconds left.
Orderus has now been silenced by the operator. Nice attempt from mummAy. Trying the speculative insta-shots around the corner, but he can't stop the spike from being planted. And although he's whizzing bullets past heads, none of them are connecting. Shock dart is good, keeping Finesse at bay. Look to push in a little bit quicker. U-Haul's control currently established. The recon, how the hell does Sam survive that onslaught? Spins around for a second. Lightning fast reactions and keeping this round in Dignitas' hands. And he could go in for another one. The Empress has been called, and he just completely dismantles Envy.
Oh, man. I don't know what's more frustrating about Reyna. Her being able to dismiss you like that, and you just have to watch her fly away, and you can do nothing about her. The fact that she laughs at you after she just completely wrecks you. It's like just kind of the watching a match burn you twice kind of situation. And Song's had a hell of a start here. What's that?
That flick in U-Hauls was so nutty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's cool to see. Again, Sam has spent most of his career being kind of more of a supportive guy, playing particularly a lot of Sova, some Viper. I think he played Reyna once on like a split game when he played on Echo 8 or something like that. So he's not completely foreign to playing the agent, but certainly was not his forte. But he's had, again, a great run with him, or her, rather, character, throughout this qualifier.
It's the frenzy up close, but Sam again picking up his 10th kill as we move into the 5th round. And a real nightmare talisman on the side of Dignitas. Hunter's Fury connecting some damage onto Omen, and kaboose gets finished off as he tries to go aggressive. Bit of a desperation play, shock dart through the dark cover, lands on the head of Finesse. And Envy just can't catch a break.
Nope. I mean, they're normally pretty good defensively on this map too, Vince. It's the map that they have one of their highest defense win rates besides Split. I think they're near 68% defensively win rate wise on this map. This is also their lowest attack win rate at only 50% compared to how well they've played Ascent and Split. So this is shaping up really poorly for Envy to start, I guess is what I'm trying to illustrate here with a little bit of statistics. Dignitas flying right now at 5-0. Big game so far for Sam with 11 kills. He's basically got, I think he's got the entirety of Envy covered by himself. If I did the quick math right, which is always risky as a commentator, but I think I've nailed it.
Yep, you are correct. Exactly 11 kills on Envy, and Sam has 11.
It feels good when you risk doing quick math as a commentator and it works out. It's a rare. I mean, I'm able to count better than Nevada, apparently, so that's nice.
There it is. I was waiting for it. There it is. And Dignitas now unrelenting on their approach. They don't want to give any mercy across to the adversaries, but maybe they should have just held their nerve a bit longer, because they've run into the gauntlet of 3 kills Finesse picks up 2, and it's mummAy's operator that silences the other. Orderus, though, keeping this alive with his operator. He's being shoulder peeked, he's being punished, but whips out his sidearm. And Finesse gets splattered from the classic.
Ooh.
2 right clicks to the dome. And that does keep Dignitas in this round.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a window cracking open now for Dignitas to try to come back into this, but that missed shot and that kill from Food probably puts the final nails in the coffin of round number 6 for Dignitas. We'll see, though, supamen able to creep out. Missed opportunity there from the first player that went after him. He's able to teleport his way into heaven, but it was read by Food right away. He kind of had to do it to avoid getting grenaded, but then just easy for Food to listen to and train his crosshair over. And so finally Envy get themselves around here on the defense. Can they build off of it, though? They don't want to let Dignitas spiral out of control. Dignitas has already had a couple of cool moments throughout this qualification process, taking it to Sentinels in a Haven match that went to overtime. Also lost very close on split 11-13 and able to come beat Spot up and make their way here after having kind of a tough run the open qualifier, getting blasted by 100 Thieves, but they did just enough to make it. And well, they're now 1 best of 3 away from maybe making playoffs, and they're off to a good start here on Bond thus far.
Oh, an excellent start, but you do wonder. Similar to Sick earlier today, he'd start to cool off on Bind, and the rest of his team struggled a little bit until he re-emerged. I wonder if Psalm has a bit of a slow patch, a bit of a downwards trend and spiral if the rest of his teammates can step up. We have seen moments from Orderus with the operator. Rest of the team, not so much, though. Then again, they haven't necessarily been required, thus. When you have one player just entering this well, not necessarily going to get a bunch of kills on the other players.
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes down to what I was talking about earlier. A lot of these guys, you know, haven't had to play against top-level competition either with the agent that they're currently on or just period. Particularly Orderus and MAKKA, you know, haven't really played a lot of the top teams very often. And, of course, Psalm completely switching his role on a team, not just an agent. So it's definitely a lot of big tests that are being asked at Dignitas very early on with this new lineup under this organization and a very important tournament. But they have been up to the task here on Bond thus far, as they are just kind of spreading the map right now, playing fairly default. Interesting to see Omen kind of be their lurker over towards Showers on this round. But now he will kind of switch up with Killjoy and join over, as it looks like they want to try to do a little bit of a B split, maybe get some hookah control.
Here.
We do have Reyna ready to go here. Has the Lear available, of course, to get in there, but may want to save it for the actual site take. And as I say that, the Killjoy left the turret behind quite some time ago, and they will just kind of bounce away from it. The patch is not in effect that would deactivate that, by the way. We're still playing 1.10.
No charges.
Run it back was used on B long. Phoenix spotted nothing. mummAy, in the meanwhile, was pressured. Stood his ground, delivered 1 shot. 30 seconds.
30 seconds left.
Mike still yet to get planted. Envy rummaging together, trying to fend off. See if they can get another round on the board. Kaboose, very important kill. And a second one behind it. As dephh is sent reeling. And supamen does come in with 2 of his own. Tacked down to 20. Teleporting into his own dark cover. Keeps him alive a little bit longer. This round is not done just yet. But they need Orderus to have some big moments. And supamen gets a 3rd before he's picked off. And now it's all down to the operating, wielding Orderus, who comes through with the classic and takes down Kaboose, but only 14 HP to his name and flicks across the crashies. What a beautiful hold from Orderus.
This is such a fantastic game from Orderus. I was a bit concerned about him coming into this game because I know when I've seen him play against some of the bigger teams in the past, he had some issues on Morning Light when he played against like Luminosity and, you know, even, you know, like Built by Gamers and such over at Pulse. He had his little bit of troubles against some of the bigger teams there, but he has really been coming alive here with the operator in this match, and that was a big round victory for Dignitas. It completely resets Envy, who now have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to get a full buy here. And even, you know, one of their players has to go to a Spectre. Still a very powerful weapon, of course, but still a little bit less than ideal. So we are seeing Dignitas set up for an aggressive B split play. At least that's how they're forming up. They do have the turret behind to cover their flank. Interesting to see them do it that way. I've been seeing some players on Killjoy, like Mitch in particular on Cloud9, who actually use a turret to like peek for this team first. Like he'll throw it on a corner to clear it, but they're using it to hold flanks instead, which is kind of the more traditional way to use it, I suppose.
My ult's not ready.
Yeah, very good to stop those flanks from coming in, but they've been doing such a good job that flanks haven't really had a chance to come in.
The thing is, I feel like Mitch is ahead of the game because when the next patch comes in, you won't be able to really do that with the turret. It'll be deactivated when Killjoy gets too far away. So you have to position it a little bit closer to yourself to watch flank. But either way, just fine here as kaboose going to find a frag, and they did not know dephh was in that corner, though. So that push turns out being bad, and the lockdown is in play now.
Looking to detain as many players as possible, but dephh gets caught. And the lockdown gets destroyed. And with it, Envy, on a very poor buy,
30 seconds left.
have made this work. They had ghosts, they had some pistols in play. A real mixed bag. And a massive deficit, and a real chance for Dignitas to rip with a fantastic half. Now brought back down to their knees. Envy only have Cypher on A. And he is starting to make a move away as well, but the spike is down, and Dignitas don't have time to go retrieve it. This round will go the way of Envy.
And they will save these weapons. And again, it's still patch 1.10, so there's no issue with like the money or anything like that. They still get the same loss bonus as prior, and they also get the rifles over, so they'll be able to full buy off the back of these two saved weapons. Still putting up quite the good attacking side. Envy have yet to really put a streak together here. It'd be a pretty big statement if they could.
Oh, Dignitas, how do you come back from that very disappointing result in the previous round? They used to play default ultimates as well.
Yeah, just having Killjoy lurk out showers, trying to go for simultaneous hookah and long B control. This is kind of the bread and butter of most teams' attacking sides on this map. At least how you like to start things off, unless you're going to go for a really aggressive early short A push. Or some teams will emphasize, you know, earlier showers control with a couple of players to ensure the orb goes their way. But Dignitas playing a little bit more traditional and slower pace, I guess you could say. But mummAy gets that forward angle on short and will find Psalms. That's a great opener here for Envy as they are trying to claw back into this map.
Yeah, they had that double stack on shorts. They had each other's angles covered. By design, mummAy misses the second shot. Not really punished for it a great deal, though. It's dephh who has been forced away. Does get the ultimate orb at least. Of course, used his lockdown the previous round and got caught while he planted it. And that's with a bit of an off angle, getting aggressive. This could backfire. If he goes down without any damage or kills, it could backfire, but he's got himself one. I believe he pulled out the neural theft to get information and was caught in the process, but Orderus still alive, still kicking. 30 seconds coming up.
Recon will get a little bit of intel as they start making their way out of the showers through this smoke. Paranoia comes in, but is not going to phase mummAy, who holds the angle, finds Orderus. Now it's all left to supamen.
To survive a little bit longer. The mummAy's classic to the forehead. 3-6. Envy starting to claw their way back in on bind.
Yeah, if they could win out, they could tie this game up as we transition sides, but the way that Dignitas have played their attacking side, I would not be the least bit surprised to see them find 7 or 8 before we switch. They will be able to have enough credits to go for the buy this round, though it will leave a couple of players short, so they may decide to take more of a middle-of-the-road approach and make sure they get a full buy in the next round. To indeed exactly what happens. They sell back some weapons and just go to mostly Shara, so they do have the one Vandal on Psalm. He's the one that had a little bit more to work with here.
Dude went for a quick peek, but decides better of that. Probably for the best. 4 players heading towards hookah. And dephh is leading the charge with a sheriff. Going in first. Leah tossed in, not really affecting them. mummAy with the operator rings out for the first, and now the re-aggression could be forthcoming. There's a dark cover just behind it. It's going to be hard to see how Dignitas get anything done, and they're being butchered on the approach. Finesse with 2 wallbang shots. Lots of damage onto dephh, who's now been finished off, and the last man standing is Orderus, who maybe can get a couple of consolation kills if they push into his crosshair. But other than that, it won't be happening. A clean sweep, flawless round, great for the economy of Envy, and of course the confidence on top of it.
Yeah, starting to really find their footing here after such a cold start. When they went down 0-5, they won 4 of the last 5 in response. and again have a great opportunity to tie this game up as we transition sides, which again, this is one of the maps they've had one of their lowest attacking win rates, so that does cause for some concern on if they can make the full comeback come into play, but can't really know how steady Dignitas' defense is with this new lineup and with the new role for Psalm and such, so we'll just have to wait and see. But so far they've had a great start on the attacking side, but Envy's response has been not so bad itself.
Nowhere to run!
Orderus just smacked through the blaze. MAKKA's Hunter's Fury doesn't really connect. And dephh, who was put down very low, just a point away from death, and he just has to try and survive, but his teammates fall around him. It's another clean sweep of around the spike carrier. In supamen has been vanquished, and MAKKA, the only player that's really answered back, but he gets spotted and forced out. And I mentioned before that dephh was very close to death. He's still standing, but for how much longer?
I'm going to go with maybe another second. And I think even I was off there. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much a done deal. I think it really just comes down to a great combination there between Foods Phoenix and crashies on the Sova. Great recon bolt on top of the blaze allows him to essentially just get a freebie through the flames and really just kind of deny any type of early hookah control over to Dignitas. And then they quickly found out about presence at Fountain as well. And then they were able to set up a nice little crossfire when Dignitas tried to recommit to hookah later. So that was just good teamwork there from Envy. Good synergy with the abilities. It's so great to combo a recon bolt with that blaze. It basically just gives you like a free chance to put on an artificial wall and then wall hack through it.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Run it back, deployed. What do they get done with it? Well, a lot of information. They push all the way down B long.
Cover going out.
That's a lot of intel for the teammates. They can keep 3 on A and V, but Orderus comes straight in. First headshot connects. First blood's been drawn. Finesto holding off against 2. Double headshot. Psalm and Orderus put down, and now Food shows his hand with the Phoenix rotation. And it's looking great for Envy again. Dignitas still have 2 players. Both of them are healthy and control over the spike. And they decide to go for a rotation, but crashies is already here. And he has all the utility at his disposal. Doesn't require it. The first wide swing goes his way as he puts a bullet into the side of Superman's head. And although MAKKA does repel him, he's been dropped to 21 HP. And there's plenty of time. He doesn't have to force the spike down. He can try and catch one of these players in transition. But now they know exactly where he is. Recon dart fired out. Trying to take the initiative, trying to get up close, takes down the spike cam, wide swings in, it's the headshot onto Finesse. Surely MAKKA can't get this done.
He's definitely going to get that spike planted. There's no doubt about that, as it is going to be a long ways off here before his opposition's able to really rotate. In fact, he's not even convinced it is an A plant just yet. Now, of course, he'll figure it all out. And MAKKA is still low on health, but he has the owl drone to kind of help him get information on this recake attempt. And he's got time on his side a bit. Food is the one that has to work quick here. And he's still slow walking through because he's not sure if they're holding a close corner on his way through spawn. So this is actually a tough ask of Food despite the health superiority. He's got so much he has to clear and worry about. And yeah, with the owl drone, it's going to give MAKKA free intel a little bit later on.
He does have hot hands though. He has Blaze. He has plenty of utility that allows him a chance. He's tapped it. He knows he has to stick it if he's going to get this full defuse. Now the full stick comes in, and MAKKA with the wide swing gets a beautiful clutch. That is massive and could have reverberating effects come the end of this map.
Yeah, that was a big round because, I mean, Envy was on the recovery train. They were doing so well, and even that round started off just fine for them. It looked like they were going to have it, but big clutch there in the end. And that is going to cause that slight bit of separation as we switch sides. It will not be the 6-6 tie that Envy were working so hard to work towards. And it started off with a bang here from Dignitas, going up 5-0, just having their way with Envy all across the server. We did see that Envy had life about them, falling together enough rounds to keep this one competitive, but that was a big clutch in the end there. No doubt about it. Big one from MAKKA.
I suppose this is where we go back to what you said, that when it comes to percentages and stats, doesn't necessarily favor Envy on the attack. So
yeah,
have they bit off more than they could chew?
Bind's a tough one, man. It's a tough one to attack. There's a lot of, really small choke points, but, Octagon and Hookah in particular. really you just have to kind of rely on being able to split B effectively, or be able to really get up short A and control U-Haul, and then work from there. And sometimes those areas can be really hard to capture.
Alt orb has been picked up. They thought about trying some aggression through showers, and they're now getting it done. This is valuable information that's being gathered by Dignitas. Jett still pushing around the back. This allows them to send over a third and now a fourth player to B. If Envy don't get a move on onto the site, they could be walking into a stack. They could be walking into Bedlam, to Mayhem, but the first 2 kills go their way. kaboose paint shell onto Sam, and a headshot delivered. First class. It's immaculate for Envy. Not even a player lost in the process. A flawless pistol.
And that's the statement that you want to make if you're Envy. When you're playing from behind and you're the favorite, you want to be able to establish yourself right away on the attack. So getting the pistol, getting the early econ buff, closing the gap on the scoreboard rapidly, getting players comfortable and back in the zone mentally, they all go hand in hand. And so that's definitely good news for Envy fans out there. So I gotta give one particular shout out real quick, Vince, if you don't mind. Our boy Corey Dunn actually now works for Envy as an executive producer. So shout out to him and his new job. I'm sure he's gonna do great things with Envy and their content.
You'll have a couple of clips from this match, I'm sure, and the one
possibly,
previous.
yeah. There you go.
They do steamroll into a 2v4 in their advantage. Spike being planted down.
Spike planted.
And considering that the remainder of Sam...
One enemy remaining.
Oh, I was about to say Sam and MAKKA, but let's be honest, they've just both been absolutely wrecked by Finesse. Didn't really ever have a chance, to be honest. They both had classics up against a decent buy.
Yep.
They were all tied up at 7 apiece.
Yeah, and again, just kind of like when we're talking about Envy playing against Sentinels, they are a team that, again, really favors the fast-paced play. They're a very explosive team, either up short A or, you know, doing the classic V-splits through long, and hookah, obviously Cypher being used by Finesse, usually going to be kind of that A-side lurk, particularly trying to fight for showers control. So this is all pretty standard. It's just going to be that early short A emphasis from Envy to kick things off this particular round while they leave Sova behind at the fountain, which is, again, standard to have kind of your intel players on the periphery of the map. As Finesse will clear out showers with the cam. One-way smoke is in place on the double stack box. That's so annoying to deal with if you're an attacking team on bind. It just kind of forces you to wait. Or maybe even pivot your emphasis elsewhere on the map, as it looks like they do indeed want to shift over towards Hookah's side, but Killjoy will be there, and her utility can be oh so pesky to deal with to get control of this area of the map.
Oh, absolutely.
I want the robots to fight.
Has already forced them back as well. You can see that just single-handedly neutralizing kaboose, but also forcing the Phoenix away. Food couldn't get anything done. Now they do regain what was once theirs, getting back into hookah, but it's a great cost and a lot of time. Additionally, a lot of resources here, thus. They have to try and go back now towards short A.
Indeed. At least they're able to clear Jett off that boosted position with the drone, but as you said, they're running out of time, and they're also low on personnel, and Orderus is standing firm here with the Vandal to keep the main advantage flowing. Supamen now coming in as reinforcements. And Dignitas is sweeping through this round. Envy got halted at every corner. Really great stout defense here from Dignitas, really slowing down the fast-paced play that Envy liked to implement. They never really could get the launch pad underneath them to really rock into a site the way they're used to. And that keeps the game so close, and it just holds Envy off again from being able to take a lead. They are able to still fully buy, though. And this time they want to put more emphasis over towards long B side. Cypher even already over here towards outside hookah. So other than his trap wires in place to watch flanks, it seems like they really want to focus in on this B side. As I say that, though, looks like Finesse is sliding back over to keep an eye on showers.
Also, 3 players strong, about to peek down B long. But it works against Dignitas, even with so many players there. Maybe a case of too many cooks spoil the broth, because they instantly get repelled. And it's Orderus that falls prey. And with that, Envy can now try and make the most.
I've heard of too many cooks in the kitchen, but not too many chefs in the broth. I don't think the chefs would be the problem. I think it'd be the stuff you put in it. Anyway,
too many hands in there, I guess.
You never want to put your hands in the broth mix. It's not the added flavor you'd like. Speaking of flavor, a little bit of spiciness there from Psalm. Aggressive out of the hookah. A little bit of a puff pass with the leer and a frag as well.
Oh, turret is so irritating.
Dude, I want to see the boom bot and the turret fight it out. Wouldn't that be sick if the turret shot the boom bot? It's like battle bots, but in a video game.
You're dead.
Enough of that, though. Big attack coming up from Invi. Yeah.
Yep, they're going for the push. Run it back was popped, but 30 seconds to go. It has been pushed back time and time again. Big moment in the round. If that kill had gone the way of the Sheriff, then U-Hauls could fall. Instead, it's all on food, and he is being sprayed in showers through the wall. Psalm, no mercy, no prisoners taken.
That's not the kind of spraying you want to happen to you in a shower. You're hoping for the nice, calming, warm water to drip upon you, not bullets raining down and allowing Dignitas to build even more of a lead from the underdog position. Let's be clear here. Envy came in as one of the favorites to, I think, be in the top 4 for first strike, depending on how the bracket shook down. I think everyone was thinking it should be Sentinels, Envy, you know, Cloud9, TSM's obviously a good shout. A lot of people had high hopes for 100 Thieves. So there are definitely, you know, plenty of teams out there, but Dignitas was not in that conversation, I don't think. So for them to be doing this well against Envy here, this is great news for them. Because there's definitely a couple players on this team who have had success in bigger tournaments in the past, when they played with, like, FaZe and such. You know, speaking of Psalm and dephh, of course. But we'll have to see. This is a bit of an eco for Envy this time around.
Terminated.
Yeah, in the pregame, we were saying that it should favor Envy, but, you know, Dignitas are no scrubs. These guys absolutely can stand their ground. They can deliver.
Sure.
It's exactly what deph's just done. Forces Envy back onto short A. Will be just against the lowly Omen defending. But Supamen is not to be trifled with, and that's why instantly nullifying and repelling the push as they look to raise it to the ground and plunder. Supamen spray through the dark cover, taking off the head of mummAy. And Finesse tries to at least get a little bit chaotic, but ultimately dephh is too good. How's our Dignitas? They move on to double digits first.
Yeah, to kind of like add on to what you were saying about, you know, Dignitas being no slouches. I mean, again, it's worth noting that dephh and Psalm were able to do well whenever they were playing for FaZe for a short stint. And even as Dignitas, when they had Poise on the team and they had like guys like Lasky and such playing, they were able to get a couple of top 4 finishes at some bigger tournaments. So, that, I mean, they've been able to, you know, beat teams like TSM in best of 3 series. So it's not as if it's out of the question for them to pull off one against one of the elite teams in the region. It was just more of, can they do it with this new lineup and with so many moving parts that goes with that? You know, bringing in 2 new players, working them into the system, switching Psalm to a whole new role. You know, dephh having to take over Killjoy after playing pretty much perma Cypher. It's definitely a lot to juggle, but they've really been up to it here in this series. And they're not gonna slow down, Vince. They are getting so aggressive on B, and look at them just rip through Envy. Not even letting them set up their attack.
There's not much to add, really. Got super aggressive down B long. The spike was dropped down, and now they can just pull the plug, go back, sit on the site, knowing that that pressure is beginning to swell. Now, this is a very similar situation to where Envy were against Sentinels, if you cast your mind back. At one point, they trailed 12-7. They took us to overtime. So we're getting into familiar territory, but Dignitas have actually looked rock solid on their defense side for the most part.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great little combo you can do with the long B aggression. You have Omen to send down the Paranoia through the long B hall. And you have Reyna who can leer the corner, and then you're able to use Jett's dash, perhaps, or, you know, her smokes, as well as just running out with your gun out and just taking fights. And for a team that's like Envy that likes to set up and then explode, if you disrupt that, you kind of take their game plan off the board.
30
force them to
seconds
have
left.
to scramble, and now they're scrambling in a 2v4. They will get the spike down, however, but still has so much of battle against to try to pull this one through, and it doesn't look good.
To secure the plant, really, there's nothing else that would have been forthcoming. And Dignitas, successful defuse, successfully dismantle Envy, 11-7 lead. But with the post-plant, Envy should have some options available to them, but they've got to start making them work.
And it's essentially now or never for them on this particular map. Obviously, we still have at least a cent to go in this series, and this is a much bigger game than earlier events, because, I mean, if you lose this, you're out, and you basically have to go play in the UMG tournament. And because you didn't make top 8, you don't even have the luxury of, like, getting seeded directly into the closed qualifier of the UMG event. You have to battle all the way back. And yeah, sure, Envy, in theory, would have no problems, you know, playing against that level of competition, getting back to this spot, but do you really want to have to go to that hassle? You'd like to secure it here and now, and especially because you're the favorite team in this particular instance, at least to get the playoffs.
No, absolutely, the pressure was off for the previous team. Not many people really expected them to win it. They are absolutely the favorites in this one, though. Showstopper up close. kaboose has to use it. We all just fire it into vents, but no one is there. Meanwhile, mummAy pushing through, can't quite transition into the second spray, gets punished by Orderus. Lots of damage inflicted, though. And now the operating, wielding Orderus can perch into heaven. Psalm dispatching crashies. A must-win round for Envy is now open for debate. It's effectively a coin flip, but you'd maybe say it's weighted in favor of Envy being a post-plant. Hot hands down into the U-hauls. And Psalm getting aggro with the Empress. Spotting food first and foremost. 2 players over on this location. They desperately need an entry back onto the site. They need it now. And it comes in the hands of kaboose. They're trying to go for the defuse in amongst all the smoke and all the carnage. Oh! And they don't get it done. In the last few seconds, the last milliseconds, Finesse threads the headshot. And Envy take this round somehow.
I cannot believe it. I thought for sure they were in for some trouble. Dignitas were doing so great covering that diffuser. MAKKA getting some big kills, but Finesse was able to come through just in time. Huge moment for him. It keeps his team afloat in this opening map. It gives them a bit of a lifeline. Double op now in play for Dignitas, by the way. You don't see that as often on defense anymore. It used to be kind of a staple. The cost and nerf to the weapon kind of changed that a bit, but you are going to see it here from dephh and Orderus. So Orderus will be posted up on short. dephh looking to play it over towards B side. Definitely a couple of different long angles you can take with operators defensively on this map, so it definitely can be viable. Big catch.
Orderus put himself in an awkward position, and once he was spotted by the Owl drone, that was pretty much all over. Had to force his way back. Envy now collapsing onto the site, looking to pillage and plunder, marauding and sacking it down. And even though a very low food can just about survive, now with the run it back, that will allow him to go back up again and peek in twice. Also getting the headshot instantly coming in. Throwing down the hot hands onto vent, forces away, gets all of that health back. An excellent turn of events for Envy. And Dignitas have to save. Envy keeping themselves in the first map.
Yeah, big play there with that drone. Not only did it detect information, also Orderus wasn't able to get away. Like, usually a Jett gets away with that type of stuff by just kind of tailwinding her way out of dangerous situations, but Orderus is not able to escape. That's a big entry. And Envy, again, being that kind of explosive style team, when you give them that pick, they are going to follow it up rapidly. You better be prepared, and Dignitas was in that particular moment. Really good trading there from Envy, only losing 1 player on that take. Finally finding a bit of success on the attack. This is the first time they've been able to win 2 buys in a row. If it wasn't for pistol victory, they would be well and truly out of this thing, but they've used that in the last couple to really start building a case that they could actually make a comeback. Full buy is still in effect for Dignitas, but again, that double operator, unless one of them was picked up, which I can't remember, that was very costly.
Yeah, the game on our hands dust. It was looking like Dignitas may just run away with this. Recon Bolt has been instantly destroyed. Not play any further part. Leah tossed out. No bullets come up, so Psalm knows at least for close range it's unlikely any of the attackers will be breathing down his neck.
Yeah, but now he can use this drone to maybe even take a peek out here towards Fountain. The drone will spot someone towards the backside. Psalm doesn't feel comfortable taking the fight, knowing that there could be someone there just waiting for a bait and switch. Kind of caught in no man's land right now, but is able to get away to Octagon before Envy retake the angle. He'll now hold a different one. A drone, though, will come after him. The timing could be great, but this is a great Lear combination to step out and frag, but he still gets caught 1 for 1.
Excellent place from Tom, though, delaying so much time and not overextending until the end. A bit unfortunate, but a one-on-one. Omen using the ult in amongst all of the chaos. Allows him to now play some mind games. 35 seconds, scattering the defenders.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to set up for that same double smoke play by the truck and just try to take
left.
into U-Haul and then go for the plant. They've already caught one of Killjoy's utility pieces there on the ground. Smokes are going to come out. Finesse has found the turret. Cage going up as well over towards U-Haul, but Dig are finding the frags.
You should
Hunter's
run.
Fury not finding any though.
Nowhere to run.
Not too much information either. Killjoy
10
putting
seconds
down
left.
the lockdown. Now the Hunter's Fury on the attack side has to try and come in with some kills. A spike is being planted in the last few seconds. It will
Spike
successfully
planted.
go down. And just in the nick of time, Dignitas now, with just 2 players remaining, have to try and submerge and get themselves back onto the site. Vent and Heaven will be the 2 angles of aggression. MAKKA going out first. Spraying through the boxes, nothing forthcoming. 2 players in U-Haul. Shock Dart goes in. Recon. They're following up, but MAKKA
What?
lines them up for a double spray, and that's it done. What the hell just happened, Envy?
I have no idea. They should have had that. They had man advantage in post plant. They had U-Haul control. I almost thought for a second they just also had to pull the plug and just save
Match point.
instead of committing for the retake. But then in the blink of an eye, they just line up a collateral almost inside U-Haul and then wipe away the round. That is sloppy from Envy. These post plants have really haunted them. I mean, you think about it, the last 5 rounds that played, they had to spike down in 4 of them, and they've only come up with 1. And then the other was just off of frags. So, that's not a good look. And again, it goes to that low attacking win rate percentage for Envy on this map. It's been a great little pick here for them to toss inside the pick ban.
Dare I mention Sick punished them in very similar ways against Sentinels, and it cost them. Could very well prove to be a repeat performance, a bit of deja vu, as Dignitas now have to try and contend with another A hit. Post plant coming to fruition. Food will successfully get this down. There's no one that can stop him. No one that can repel him. And Envy taking forward positions in U-Haul. Also Cypher watching the back, who will come head-to-head with Reyna momentarily. And an important fight that goes the way of Finesse. And Sam has been one of their key fraggers. Neural Theft tossed in for good measure. Dark cover from mummAy. Look for another one. Gonna get pressured from 2 angles. Doesn't need to fight this just yet. And supamen comes through with 1. He gets repelled out from Food before he gets traded out from Orderus. And kaboose also stepping up. Envy doing a solid job of holding. Just about. And Dignitas now forced into a save. Orderus has to keep the operator alive. 2 more map points forthcoming. And he may not even get the luxury of saving it.
Oh, no.
He gets dispatched from Finesse.
And their economy was already kind of low previously, and they just got hard reset. And they weren't able to save the operator and Orderus, who I think should have played in a way that never really risked giving it up. So I do wonder about that just a little bit. Luckily, they're still able to full buy here, but the issue is, if this doesn't work, you don't really have a whole lot you can buy in the final round of regulation to stop it from going to overtime. So, I mean, it's kind of now or never for Dignitas to stop an overtime out of Envy, who have a little bit more reserve cash than them going forward. Of course, that doesn't matter as much. They have to win out, but it's worth knowing that it could be a long-term impact that we have to kind of consider.
Orderus with the operator, updrift, and tailwind away. Took his shot, missed it. Run it back, tossed in. Paranoia, perfectly timed though. They can't really afford to fully invest behind that though. And although Sam was up close, he was put into a really awkward position. Curveball now into U-Haul, which is being taken control over. And all the meanwhile, Showstopper just charging right down the throat of Dignitas, who've been completely decimated. Not a single player remains on the A site, and only 2 of them in total remain overall, and they have to back away to save again.
Yeah, again, that's just Envy showing you their textbook explosive playstyle. Even though the run it back from Food didn't pick up a kill, it got perfect information on the defensive setup. It allowed them to swing out and catch a player in no man's land, trying to transition out of the kind of closet position to get over towards showers. And then they had the showstopper as kind of a pushback option if they needed it, which they never really had to pull the trigger on. They could just kind of use it as a soft clear on the retake. So everything went swimmingly there for Envy on just, you know, Food and company charging through off the back of the flashes and then run it back. And again, just kind of looking more themselves in a round like that and tidying up the post-plant situation.
That goes there.
That's the Envy I'm more used to seeing. They've now won 4 of the last 5. They just need 1 more to force yet another overtime, Vince, which again, we've already casted a pretty marathon game between Envy and Sentinels on this very map, and we might be doing so again, Vince, depending on how this round goes. And you know what? I'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, I'm right
Get out
alongside
of
you.
my way.
Looking at the buy, Dignitas certainly coming out second best. They got Stingers, they got a Spectre in play, but they do have a Blade Storm.
Yep.
So a bunch of daggers. Tossed at foreheads, perhaps.
That's
Need
interesting.
to land the bullseye.
A cage to give
switch and
mummAy the
showers.
angle. Yeah. They put the cage down so mummAy could get a little bit more comfortable on top of the box there with the operator, and they're still just waiting to see if someone's actually going to come around the corner. And, I mean, mummAy might fall prey to it. The alarm bot will be what they need to use to figure things out. A 1-for-1 trade on the showers.
Lock in sight.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1, but Jett takes so much damage. Has to play passively now with the Blade Storm as opposed to going aggressive for those peaks, knowing that one false step, and it not only their life, but potentially overtime lose.
Yeah, kaboose is getting a lot of intel here on the B side. Luckily, we wasn't ult in play here for dephh to get his Omen in position
Nowhere to run.
to help out here, or at least get some information. But MAKKA, he's the big one here. Hunter's Fury takes down kaboose, gets it into a 4-on-3 retake. Opportunity for Dignitas to win it here and now.
Yeah, desperately, they still have Blade Storm, but they also still have Tom, who now has Empress. Has risen to conquer the rest of Envy. Only 2 players still stand. Sam doesn't even have to overcommit, just waiting for the teammates to arrive. Food tries to spray, missing out. This could be the beginning of the end of the map. And crashies all that remains, but not for much longer. Dignitas, with a very poor buy to end things off, have made it work. It's going to be close, but they should have time for the defuse. Map 1 goes the way of Dig. Their choice comes good.
Big victory there from Dignitas.